right, did everyone get that message that we're live streamed? Perfect. Okay, so today is January 9th. Happy New Year. It is 1:33, and I am calling the Greater Boroughs Partnership for Health Advisory Board meeting to order. Just a little spiel, the open meeting of the North Borough or the Greater Boroughs Partnership for Health is being conducted remotely, consistent with Chapter 2 of the Acts of 2023. No public comment. This meeting does not feature public comment. All right, so members, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Chelsea for Southborough.
Here.
Anne Marie for Boylston.
Here.
And then Northborough, Isabella here. Perfect. So we do have a quorum of the board. So welcome back. I feel like it's been a while since we've last talked. I hope everyone's new year is moving smoothly. But with that, we do have a busy agenda. So I'm going to introduce Manise. Manise is from BME, and she is here to discuss the Foundational Public Health Services review. Did I get it right?
Completely correct. The Foundational Public Health Services Shared Services Review, or the FPHS Shared Services Review.
Perfect. And do you have slides to share, or are you just gonna go for it?
I can do either or, whatever this group would prefer. The slides that I will be sharing are the same slides that you already have access to, Isabella and Michaela, in Smartsheets, the Shared Service Coordinator intro slides. Would you like for me to share those?
I think a visual would be helpful.
Perfect. I will do that.
You should have access.
Perfect. I will try sharing my screen now. Oh, I have. I think everyone can see my screen. I'm going to put it into presentation mode and let that load. Again, I want to start this off by saying thank you so much for inviting me to your group. I'm so excited to be talking to you about the FPHS Shared Services Review. This presentation that I'm showing you is a presentation that I've already given to your Shared Services Coordinator and your fiscal lead, which is Isabella. And I've spoken with Michaela about this and run her through this as well. So now I'm going to take some time to give you a high-level overview. I'm not going to give you the exact same presentation because you will be having your own presentation next week on Tuesday if you are able to attend the special webinar that OLRH hosts from 3 to 4 p.m. So this coming Tuesday, January 14th, there will be your own version of this presentation that I'm about to give you the quick bite of.
And just to confirm, that meeting on Tuesday is recorded and will be?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
So in this quick presentation that I'm going to give you, I'm going to be telling you about the FPHS Shared Services Review, what it is, when it is happening, what it is made up of, and what our ask of you, health directors, is throughout this process. So just to give you a little bit of background, I'm sure you're familiar with this and have seen this before, but back in 2019, OLRH and the Special Commission for Public Health created this blueprint. And in this blueprint were recommendations on how to improve the effectiveness and efficiency of local public health. And it was determined in that blueprint that the foundational public health services, this national framework of the essential services that have been determined, the basic core activities that should be available in every community, these were determined to be the best set to be integrating into Massachusetts public health performance standards. And I know that was a lot of words, so I'm going to make this make more sense now. So basically, the Foundational Public Health Services is a framework that is made up of 5 foundational areas, which you can see in these 5 circles at the top of this, and 8 foundational capabilities, which you can see in these dark blue boxes here. And basically, this framework is what local public health in Massachusetts should be aware of in terms of service delivery in their communities. So we understand that local public health in Massachusetts isn't directly responsible for delivering a lot of these services, and maybe they've not even been able to with limited funding and capacity and things like that. But we do want to make sure that we are working towards being able to make sure that these services are being provided in your community. So whether that's you in your health department delivering these services or partnering with other organizations to make sure your community members have access to these essential foundational public health services. Does that make sense so far? So let me quickly jump a few slides. So basically, what the FPHS Shared Services Review is, it's truly a data collection and planning process for the state to be able to understand the existing Massachusetts local public health resources and available services in each community. And this data collection process is really made up of two parts. It's a cost tool and a service delivery tool. And so this is a key step for the state of Massachusetts to be able to modernize local public health in Massachusetts, to be able to prioritize local public health in Massachusetts, and really for us to work towards that public health excellence that we've been talking about for so long. So what this really means is that once the FPHS Shared Services Review kicks off next week, we will be coming to you, health director. So I see Chelsea and Marie Isabella on here. We will be coming to you, the BME team. So me personally, I will be coming to you, providing you with access to these tools and helping you to fill out these tools. So now I'm going to kind of give you a little bit of information on the kind of the kind of data that will be a part of these tools. Let's see if I can skip forward. There's a lot of slides, so I apologize. I'm going to skip around a bit. Okay. Oops. All right. So for the cost tool collects information on financial resources and things like your labor, your staff costs, your revenue costs, your contracting that you may do, the grants that you may have in your health department, and each local public health entities or each health department's spending related to those foundational public health services activities. So we're asking you to document your staff that you have, the work that they have been hired for at this foundational public health services level. And to give you an example of what that means, so let's say, for example, you have a public health nurse on your staff. That would mean you could be able to allocate some of their time to communicable disease control or chronic disease prevention or assessment and surveillance, things like that. And again, I know this is a lot of information that I'm throwing at you and giving you. It is my personal responsibility to help you fill out these tools and to make all of these concepts make sense. All I'll really need from you is your willingness to assist me in helping you fill out the tool. So having your payroll ready and everything and your staff lists ready so that we can fill out the cost tool together. Does that make sense?
Can I just ask a general question?
Of course.
Are you talking about operational budget cost, or are you talking about like the greater boroughs, like PHE grant costs that we have?
We're asking at this time for both. So if the fiscal lead has the PHE grant costs, so I think that's Isabella, correct? You are the
Yeah.
lead. So Isabella will be responsible for listing
Okay.
out the costs that are associated with your SSA and the PHE grant. But what we are asking from each individual community is their operational costs in their public health department.
Yeah.
So only
Okay.
Health and Human Services, Public Health Department. That's what we would like to know about. So who is on your staff? We
Yeah.
understand that staffing can be extremely varied and limited. Sometimes people only have one person or two people at most. We want to know those things and how you and how their work corresponds currently to the FPHS.
And when you say revenue, you're not actually talking about the revenue that's generated by using that labor. You're talking about the cost of revenue.
So we're asking two things. We're asking for staff,
Yeah.
like, and how much you're spending on hiring. And then we're also asking on the amount of revenue that comes into your health department directly.
Oh, so
So
you are talking about, so it's not just a cost tool, it's like a revenue and expense is what you're looking at.
a little bit, and it will make more sense once I am able to share these tools with you. I'm not able to
Okay.
until next week. But
Got it.
yes, we are looking for information on the grants that you have access to in your community and in your health department, things like that.
And I guess a question about revenue, and this might, you can tell me to wait until I see the spreadsheet, but is it revenue only coming back to the Board of Health, or because some is just going to, I guess, the general fund?
That is so correct. Thank you for making that point. Like, that is an extremely important point. We know that fees and fines that are sometimes collected in a community go to the general fund. We are definitely just trying to capture what goes to the health department only.
So whatever you have set up in a revolving account would really only be the revenue that you could capture because everything else goes into the general fund.
That would be correct.
Thank you.
And again, throughout this process, next week and in the following months, I will be able to answer even more questions in detail. I apologize for not being able to go more into detail at this time. Next week is the time when we're able to like unleash everything. And then the second tool that we have as a part of this process is the service delivery tool. And this really captures current services being provided or services being shared, your overall staff's capacity and expertise, all to fulfill the foundational public health services in your municipality and also across your SSA. So as a part of the service delivery tool, you will be, each individual community in your SSA will be filling out the services they are able to provide for their community. And also, Michaela will be filling out some information based on behalf of your entire SSA staff and expertise. So just to give you a little bit of more information at a high level on the cost tool, the cost tool will be basically an Excel spreadsheet based in SharePoint. Each health department will have their own cost tool. And if by any chance your health department or your municipality has a separate inspectional services department, please let me know as soon as you can. And we will get you more information because your inspectional services department may have their own tool to fill out through this process. But other than that, it can just be on behalf of your actual health department or local public health entity. And in this tool, you will be entering spending data and divide the spending data amongst the foundational areas and capabilities here that you see on the screen. Let's see, what do we have here? This is actually Michaela's role, but we just want to let you know that in this coming month, health directors, you will be having your own intro webinar to the cost tool and how to fill it out. That will be at the end of this month, I believe on the 28th of January, from again 3 to 4 p.m. on that special webinar that happens every Tuesday. And if you're unable to attend, this will be recorded. And again, if you're unable to watch the recording or attend, it is my personal responsibility to help you understand this tool and to fill out this tool. So you don't have to worry. We completely recognize that we are asking you to do a lot. You already do so much for your community. So I don't want anyone to feel too overwhelmed or scared in being able to complete this. You have resources. We have created things to make sure that you are able to effectively and efficiently fill these out and feel comfortable about it. Let's see, can I go to the next slide? Oops, too many slides. Okay, and here is the service delivery tool. If my slides will work. Okay. And similarly to the cost tool, the service delivery tool will also be an Excel spreadsheet based in SharePoint. But the difference between this tool and the cost tool is that this will be a shared tool amongst amongst your SSA, basically. So there will be one tool, and in this tool, each community, each municipality will have their own page. So Northborough will have their own page. I don't actually know what the two other boroughs that I know of that are also in here. Northborough, Westborough, and Southborough, I
And
believe.
Boylston.
And Boylston, there we go.
And I'm gonna take this time, so Chelsea is the chair of the Board of Health, and their health director's currently on leave right now. So how would that work? Is that, would the chair kind of step in?
So yes, Chelsea, if you would be willing to work closely with me, I can make this process as easy as possible for you. And if you don't have all of the information that your health director or that normal person would have, we can figure out who else does in your district or in your town hall or health department.
Yeah.
And just to make sure that all of this can get done without them. And I can try and like prompt you and guide you on who would have this information if that person is not there.
Okay. Um, so is this, and maybe I missed this, is this a requirement that the state is making us do? And is this for the state to do some sort of analysis and then they're going to update the blueprint? Like, what is the kind of the end goal here? And maybe you're going to get to that, but I think I missed it if you said it
I
already.
apologize. I haven't gotten to that just yet. So that was going to
Okay.
be how I end, but we
Oh,
begin.
sorry, you can
No,
wait.
no, no. Don't even worry. I should have started with who I am and who BME is. So I am a contractor with OLRH. And on behalf of OLRH, it is my job to work with local public health and making sure that this FPHS shared services review process gets done, basically. And so, yes, the answer is the data that comes out of this process will be used to inform future planning processes, future local public health prioritization, as we are working as a state together to modernize local public health in Massachusetts. This is the first step on being able to go from point A to point B. If the state doesn't understand what is currently being done in local public health in Massachusetts in terms of the resources that are available, in terms of the services that are being provided, it's really hard to kind of provide direction and guidance on how we move forward together as a state. So this is what this journey is. Does that kind of give you some information on that?
It does, yeah.
And then, I think her first question, it is a requirement of all PHE grantees.
Yes. So everyone who is a part of an SSA or a part of the PHE grant program, they are required to participate.
And sorry, what does SSA stand for? I only call it PHA.
Yes, no worries. So your shared service arrangement,
Oh, okay.
which is the Greater Boroughs, is what an SSA is. I apologize. This jargon was specifically for shared services coordinators. The new
Got it.
presentation, which you will see next week, makes everything make more sense. So I apologize.
No, that's okay. That's okay. Sorry, I'm asking a lot of questions, but I just want to make sure I get it because I'm going to have to do it. So,
No, never be sorry. I welcome the questions. Thank you for asking the questions, Chelsea. Let me see, what else did I have a part of this? Yes, so basically at a very high level, we intend for this information from the review to be used by shared services arrangements so that they can understand your specific local public health and your entire group's current spending, service delivery, and your level of staff capacity and expertise in providing the FPHS, and identify opportunities for future SSA level planning. So future work together as a shared services arrangement. Does that make sense? Perfect. And I know it's a lot of information. So even if it doesn't make sense, I am here with you throughout this process to make sure that eventually it gets a little bit easier. Let me see if I can stop sharing quickly.
Are you able to share those slides with us?
So yes, Isabella is actually, or Isabella or Michaela, if you can download those slides from Smartsheet, you are more than welcome to share those slides. The next slide I was going to share with you actually is this right here. If it loads. Okay. So I know that this is slightly small, but for the purposes of just your awareness, I want you to know that the state really recognizes that we're asking a lot of our health directors and a lot of local public health. And to support you throughout this process, you will not only have your shared services coordinator, Michaela, helping you, but you will also have your PC. So if you're familiar with who Jess Furland is, she will also be here to assist. And to provide the most comprehensive support, you have access to me 24/7 or whenever you work to be able to complete this process successfully and efficiently. And also, if there's something that's above my level of knowledge, we also work with MHOA subject matter experts, and we'll bring them in on an as-needed basis when we're working with you and determined, like, maybe I don't know the answer to this question. Well, we'll bring in one of our experts to assist us. Does that make sense? And I'm going to share this with you. Again, you will see this next week if you are able to attend. This is a high-level timeline of the entire FPHS Shared Services Review. It really begins next week on the 14th and will go all the way through until the middle of April, basically. And so the data collection period will be from January to April and will end in May. Does that make sense?
And what fiscal years are you looking at for data? I just want to make sure I'm like prepared for whatever data you're looking for, because I may not have it at my fingertips.
Fiscal year 2024.
Okay.
I apologize if you can hear my tiny human going nuts underneath me. This is the perks of working from home. But does anybody have any questions, or can I provide any information in advance of next week's official kickoff?
So I just have a comment, I guess, on looking at FY24 just from a Southborough only perspective and probably a Northborough perspective. We've had some structural changes within our staffing model, at least with those two towns. How would you, so do you, I mean, is 20, it just, I think we're going to be stale looking at 2024 just because our resource allocation has changed. And how does that impact what the state's looking at?
So I apologize, my internet is going in and out now.
That's okay.
So it is completely okay if your fiscal year 2024 information is in the state that you say it is. The state really does want to know what happened in that point of time to be able to assess the entire state fairly. So it is okay if you've had staffing changes. It is okay if you didn't have the full capacity that you do now or that you did in the past. We truly want to know what has happened in that past fiscal year.
Okay.
So even if it's like the bare minimum, it's still important for the state to know.
I wouldn't even say, yeah, ours, we can talk when we talk. We've just had a different mind set, and we had an assessment done by Collins Center to help us figure out how are we using our PHE grant funds and how should we best use our operational funds. And so we've shifted things differently between Northborough and Southborough. Like we had our own things we worked through, and now we have a new model. So it's actually, we're getting better service, but not necessarily using more dollars.
Yeah, I was gonna say, is there room for like a short like narrative piece? Because Northborough too, we kind of merged departments and now we have more capacity. I just wonder if there's a piece that we could, maybe it's not reflected in the FY 2024 budget, but I don't know. An explanation.
Definitely. In that larger analysis, this narrative piece will be extremely important. So yes, in the actual tools, it will be difficult to provide that analysis because we're already asking you for so much information, but it will be my job to collect this. So if you would like to write down any context or anything that would make the data make sense in our larger analysis for the state, I would greatly appreciate it. It would only make this data more valuable. And I'm also so pleased to hear that your group has already done so much planning and resource allocation ahead of time. That is exactly what we are trying to encourage through this process. And it sounds like you all have already done that.
Well, this is all very helpful. So I guess confirming next dates and Michaela making a list of the follow-up information that you can send out to the group. But so the webinar on the 14th, and then you said there's a webinar on the 28th.
Yes, there will be a webinar almost every Tuesday this month.
Okay.
Actually, I know I apologize for it. And if you can't attend, we completely understand. They will be recorded, but there will be a webinar introing this FPHS shared services review process. It'll be kind of what I've just given you the high level overview of, but in a lot more detail. And then the following Tuesday, I believe that is the 20th or the 21st.
21st.
That will be intro to the service delivery tool. So it'll be like an intense walkthrough of how to fill that out. And then on the 28th, it will be the intro to the cost tool. And so it'll be a intensive walkthrough of how to do that. And if at any point you would like to get started before then, so after January 14th, all we would need to do is set up a meeting and we can start working on these tools. I believe I have already emailed Michaela requesting your actual contacts. And I'm asking for this information so that I can provide you with access to your tools. So that's the only way we can get started if I have your email in advance. Otherwise, if you want to work on it, I can also in real time and you don't feel comfortable sharing in advance, we can just set up a meeting after this and work on it together. And I can give you access right then and there, whatever works best for you and your municipality.
And where's the link for the webinars in January? Do we have that?
I can send it out
Okay, thank
for
you.
Michaela.
My guess is it went to Taylor, so I just haven't seen it yet. I
No
wasn't
worries. And
aware.
also just to make everyone really aware, there's no new webinar link. So if you already have the OLRH special webinar sign up, that should be in your calendar on Tuesdays from 3 to 4 p.m. Those are the links that the state sent out. So it's not a new link at all, but if you still need that, definitely Michaela would be the person to ask to send you that.
Thanks, Michaela. I don't think I have that.
Yes, I will absolutely include it. And I was gonna ask Mnize a quick, like, if you could give a rundown. I got the contact list, but of kind of who the ideal contacts, I know it varies from town to town. But for the municipal lead and the like public health services, what information would they need to have access to and kind of who are you thinking for that, just so we have guidance?
Great question. So, depending on your specific health department and your current staffing, we would love for your public health nurses to be a part of this process. If you have a finance department or a person who manages your payroll, who would know all the monies that your staff get paid, we would love them to have access to this tool and have their email address as well. And yeah, other people who maybe do programmatic things that I'm not aware of in your health departments, that would fall under the FPHS too. And as we go and as we have these one-to-one meetings, we can also uncover that there are more people that we need to talk to, but we should have like a core group of emails.
All right, so next steps, we'll disseminate all of the links and slides and information. And then if Michaela sends out your email address, people are able to make one-on-ones with you. And then if we do need, we meet every 2 months. So that would be March. So if we needed you to come back to like a group meeting, we're looking probably at March unless we wanted to schedule another one. But I think those are our next steps, if that sounds okay.
That sounds perfect to me. Thank you so much, everyone.
I appreciate it, Mnize. You have been busy.
It's been madness, plus a baby. So thank you, everyone, for bearing with me and my tiny human.
No problem.
Thank you. All right, so that is a lot. The state is very, very, very busy doing all of these things. I kind of think about it as like a capacity assessment, like times 4x. Again, I haven't seen any of the spreadsheets, so I don't have any more information than that. But we'll do it together. I'm glad, Michaela, we have a full-time shared service epi person gonna help us through this. And Monize is great. We know her as her previous role as a local epi, so she does have like a local aspect, which I think will be helpful in her helping us.
And you have the boroughs part covered, so we just we just need to worry about our town stuff. Okay,
Correct.
okay. Great, thank you.
Okay, great. All right, Michaela, if you want to share your slides, we'll go into our next agenda item, shared services updates.
Okay, can everyone see that? Okay. Perfect. So just three quick things, and I'll keep it brief, since we have a packed agenda, but we've been working on two different forms that we hope will kind of help streamline things, but also give us a way to track, different services that are being offered kind of in that same vein of assessing where we're at. And the last thing I'll talk about is just the local public health internship. I do want to highlight that this is all going to be in a OneDrive, excuse me, a OneDrive that we've created for the advisory board. So I'll send out that link afterwards. And then there's just one link that you can bookmark where everything will be easily accessible. So the first thing is training completion assessment. So this is a very quick Microsoft form where we're just asking our shared staff and our advisory board members what trainings they've completed of those foundational trainings in our work plan. This is more just to kind of get a snapshot of where we're at. Should be pretty quick. The only follow-up, if you have completed some of these trainings, I might reach back out to get a copy of the certificate, just so we can kind of keep track of that. But you can either scan this QR code now and check it out, or like I said, it'll be in that OneDrive link. So this is really just like a one-time, we kind of want to see where we're at. And then shared service request form. This is going to be more of an ongoing form, hopefully to make it easy to request for services. So again, this is a quick, if you want nursing services or inspectional services, data analysis, any type of specific communications like an infographic, you can fill out this form, it'll notify me, and then we can make sure to get you in contact with the shared staff, and kind of just have a way to keep track of who needs what and what services we're providing. So before I move on to the DPH internship, any questions about these forms? Okay. And like I said, we'll follow up with the email with links and it's all in one place. Okay, so local public health internship. This is something DPH has been doing for several years. They fund and host an intern that is then placed with the local board of health. So those applications are now open for this summer. The deadline is February 7th. And Isabella and I had talked about a couple of potential projects for us as a coalition, specifically cancer prevention. There is also some mental health or physical activity projects potentially, and then infectious disease, you can always kind of find some sort of data set to look at that could be of interest. So those are kind of our ideas, but wanted to bring it to you all and see if this is something you'd be interested in, or if you had any particular projects that might be of interest.
So I'll just add, so we've had 3 interns in the past. Our first one worked on like a COVID survey, and it was like returning back to I think it was preschool or under 5 getting vaccines. And then 2 years ago, we did the food resource guide, and last year we did the maternal health guide. So it's really up to you all if you have additional ideas or if your individual town wants to submit an application. You can submit multiple. You just have to confirm that someone in your town would be the supervisor for the intern. So Michaela and I are willing to do that supervision for the Greater Boroughs intern if we can all kind of agree on a topic of interest. Typically, we keep it a little bit broad just so the intern can work on something that they're passionate about while helping our region as well. So I guess similar to Michaela, opening it up to see if there are any ideas.
I don't have any off the top of my head, but I have a Board of Health meeting on Tuesday and I can ask my board if they have any ideas and then get back to you.
Perfect. That sounds great. Anne Marie, any ideas?
Unfortunately, our meeting is at the end of the month. I can reach out to the health agent Dennis and the other staff and see if they have anything and get back to you.
Perfect.
Awesome. And in the follow-up email, I'll link kind of what this application looks like. It's a pretty simple form, but just kind of so you're aware of some of the components. And then we'll move on to budget. So I'll pass it over to Isabella.
My favorite part. All right, so our plan this year is to stay on track. So we don't have the same thing that happened in June of last year. So this is kind of our spending chart right now. So of course we have anticipated funds right now. One, we haven't hired a full-time nurse. We hired Michaela 6 months into the year, and then we allotted family plans for the nurse and Michaela. So in the interim, I have been using the nursing line item for the salmon contract because we're going to lose these funds at the end of the year. So that's why you do see amount spent for nursing. But we have some room and ideas to consider. But again, we'll leave this on the screen. We'll send out the slides as well. But as you can see, a lot of line items, we have money to spend. So Michaela, does anyone have any questions about this spreadsheet?
Where were we paying, if we had a full-time nurse, where would we have paid the salmon contract out of?
We had all agreed through the contact tracing.
Okay, so then we have funds available in there, but
Mhm.
does
That rolls over until FY26.
okay, thanks.
So I
I
will
just couldn't
definitely be
remember.
I'll definitely be putting that on a next meeting agenda because those are lose it by FY26, the end of FY26.
Okay, so we have like 18 months on that one or
Yes.
whatever. Okay.
Yep. All right. If you can, Michaela, go to the next slide. So these are the two ideas that we had kind of discussed in previous meetings. One being the ClearPath Municipal Services contract. So that is for the hoarding contract that we discussed at length when preparing the budget. It didn't fit into the budget due to the high fringe benefits, but here we are again. This is a possible contender. I did get this approved by the state if this is something we want to move forward with. There's a screenshot and I can send over the kind of packet they gave me, but basically it's for prevention services for both the public and municipal staff, similar to the one we did last year. Mitigation services, so we can participate in some, membership and counseling, as well as in-home decluttering services. And then, as I just said, municipal education. So just wanted to hear your thoughts with hoarding and housing, what you guys have been seeing, hearing.
I mean, I definitely think there's a need on this in this area. So I mean, I'm just thinking of one case that we've had fairly recently.
Yep.
And I know this was something that Westboro was looking for. So I'm definitely in support if we have the funds, and we could use this for the rest of the year, but it's not like we're locked in for the following fiscal year.
Correct. It's just a 1 year or 1 year. I would double check on the term lengths, actually, if it's the end of June 30th or is it January 9th or whatever.
Right. I mean, at least if we could get some hours for the next 6 months and get some
Yep.
support, I think that's valuable for all the towns. So I'd be in support of that.
And then do you have an idea, so they do kind of 4 to like 12 hours a week. Obviously these hoarding cases do take time, just thinking about how many hours we would want as a group. Knowing that if we did have a ton, there would need to be some prioritization, or we
Right.
could add hours depending on.
I would stick with the minimum and then see how we do with it, if
Okay.
we can add, if we need it.
Okay.
I don't know. I mean, that's my gut reaction, but
Right. I mean, it's hard to know exactly what is going on.
yeah,
And of course, it's also like the hoarding cases you have, and then the individuals or clients need to consent to wanting these services.
right. And that's sometimes the tricky part
Right.
is getting consent.
Anne Marie, does Boylston have an interest, or have you heard of any hoarding cases?
I haven't heard of anything, but I can still, like I said, bring this to the health agent, Dennis, and the rest of the staff and see.
Okay.
Make this, make them aware.
So would we want to wait on a vote, or?
I don't think we should because we're already in January and I don't want to be sitting here in April, May and being like, we're banging our heads against the wall because we can't figure out how to spend these funds.
Yeah, I agree. We shouldn't wait.
Okay, all right, then I will take a motion to vote on the ClearPath Municipal Services contract. I'll go for the 4 hours and we'll assess as we go.
So moved.
All those in favor? Southborough,
Aye.
Boylston,
Aye.
Aye.
Well,
and Northborough, aye. Okay, perfect. So I will contact Lynn at ClearPath and we will set that up, see what we need. So that will take $8,000, which is great. And then the second thing that we've been considering, and it was right when Kristen Black had resigned, but we were all looking into nursing software. So again, bringing this back to the table, nursing software, My Senior Center, this would offer us to track our clients, provide case management, and then report on how many, say like blood pressure clinics or wellness visits or any of the educational trainings we do. Right now, it's all stored on just an Excel spreadsheet, and it's pretty difficult to run reports for each town, for the region. So just seeing if there's any interest in this.
so I'm not opposed to a nursing software, but I know Taylor's done some legwork on looking at them and was not impressed with this.
So Taylor actually did a demo, and we can chat with her too. She actually
Okay.
did this demo and she was pleasantly surprised.
Oh, she was.
Yeah.
Okay, so I didn't know that.
It's definitely it's clunky. It's not the most attractive software, but
Okay.
the reports that we would be able to run were beneficial, and it's pretty much like one of the only ones that are cost effective right now.
Okay.
Not going to procurement and doing all of the legwork for that.
So could we pay the 6,000 in this fiscal year and then I want it to get synced up with the right year,
Yeah.
like where we have the funds this year. I wouldn't want to split it. Do you know
Mhm.
that answer?
I don't. I can reach back out.
Okay.
And so the ClearPath municipal contract that was approved by PHE grants funding, this one has not been
Okay.
approved yet. So I wouldn't say we should vote on.
Yeah.
It's difficult. I was going to reach out to the contact tracing grant too to see if that would cover. Again, that would be a limited amount of years.
Yeah. So why don't you see how the payments work and see if they would approve it? And then if we need to have a quick meeting after that, then we can
Okay.
do that
Okay.
instead of
And-
waiting till March.
Yeah. Anne Marie, how do you do you track any of your nursing services, and how do you do that?
I just document it in a journal, in the calendar, paper.
Okay.
I don't do anything electronic.
Okay. I know the state definitely sees this as a need, so they're working on another project. It's called like the Local Data Solutions. which is going to include like inspectional services and this type of HIPAA compliant software, but I don't expect it to be ready for the next 1 to 2 to 3 years. So hopefully we'll get more information about that too. So
And
I
we
will do
already use this in Southborough for,
correct.
right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then the Northborough Senior Center uses it.
Oh, they do. Okay.
So the price for this one, it's like an enterprise account. So basically each town would have their own account, and then like one person, maybe like Michaela, would have all 4 towns to run reports, but like Anne Marie wouldn't be able to see all the data in Northborough. So it would be private in that aspect as well.
So I probably would need to get IT to sign off on it,
Yes.
even though we already have it too. So I'm happy to talk to our IT folks and potentially MTC, and let you know.
Okay, so let me get some more information. I can send over their scope of work,
Okay.
maybe the quote, and then, yes, we would all need to get it approved by IT funding source, but I just didn't want to spend time if people didn't see this as a priority.
I think it's a good idea.
Okay. All right, and then any other ideas?
I would really love to get AEDs in the other 3 towns. Like, I know we were declined last year.
Mhm.
I just think there's so many stories that you hear of it being helpful at fields. And I just think it's so unfortunate that all of our towns do not have them.
We will submit it again.
Thank you.
And Taylor and Michaela, you might have been at the MHOA conference when they were talking about, Needham was talking about their heart safe community. And they were talking all about the AEDs in fields. So
There was a guy that was recognized at a Celtics game a couple weeks ago, and he's worked for like 15 years on raising money and donating it to towns in Massachusetts to have AEDs at their fields and gyms. It's like it's just such a no-brainer for me. And I think this falls right into the wheelhouse of exactly what we're trying to do. So hopefully we can push it through this time.
sounds good. Any other ideas? The one idea that Michaela and I thought of is possibly translating the maternal health guide and the food resource guide. Is that of interest to anyone? It would be like a few $1,000s.
I mean, I think our demographics, at least in Southborough, have been shifting over time. So I think that there's a value anytime that we can disseminate information in multiple languages. So I think it's worth looking into.
Okay. All right. So maybe I'll have Michaela, you can do some research, but also maybe reach out to each individual town to see what their maybe like top 3 languages may be, and then we can go from there. All right. Well, those are my ideas right now, but we'll keep working on it. The nursing position is still open, so if you know anyone, feel free to send them our way. It's been very quiet for the nurses, so we'll see.
That's too bad.
Yes. Yep. All right. I think I'm done with the budget unless people have questions, but I will send out everything I said I would, as well as these slides with that budget.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And the only other thing, I guess it was the substance use prevention work, which I know Jen wanted to talk about. I know last meeting we talked about, talking to our towns and seeing if we wanted to pool money. So I don't know if there's any updates on that. As for Northborough, I don't know if we're in a position to agree to that yet. We're still in the early stages and trying to think about like what positions might be useful to use the opioid fund. So I don't know if there was any other updates.
So Southborough Board of Health, we talked about this in our last board meeting. And I think it was definitely something we would entertain, but without having like a solid plan. And, with already being joined with the schools with Northborough and staffing, that was another piece that we wanted to make sure we were able to fund. into the future. The other thing that the board is definitely interested in is some sort of school program, if that comes to fruition, in which case, you know, we probably would want to focus on that at Trotter, and assuming that Northborough wanted to do it at Melican. So definitely would entertain it, but are not ready to commit, and would definitely be concerned about pulling funds depending on where the funds would be used. So I think, you know, it's too early to tell, but I also want to get moving with what we're doing too. So I don't know kind of the best way to proceed on that.
Anne Marie, has Boylston had any conversations about opioid funds?
No, not at present.
Okay, so I mean, I think it would make sense to kind of hold off until, unless someone had like a project in mind that would be beneficial to all four towns. Again, I don't have any at the moment, but we can continue to come back to that if someone comes up with an idea.
Okay.
Does that sound like a plan?
Yep.
Yes.
All right. All right, so we can do meeting minutes. I was just, Michaela, trying to find the email because I'm pretty sure it's a quorum of the people who were in attendance at that meeting. So no.
Mm-mm.
Okay, all right, so we're good.
Yeah, you're good. You can vote on minutes even if you weren't there.
This is why we keep you.
This is why I'm the fill-in.
No, that just made it easier. All right. So,
Yeah.
so yes, we have lots of meeting minutes. Michaela has been a huge help in getting this backlog all to you guys. And I think it was a good exercise, right, Michaela? You could hear
Feel
our
caught
past
up.
meetings. All right. So also, Chelsea, can we vote on these as like a chunk, or do I have to do
Yeah.
each one?
You want me
Okay.
to make a motion?
Yes, please.
All right, so I move that we vote to accept and release meeting minutes from 3/13/24, 4/4/24, 6/11/24, 6/26/24, and 11/7/24.
Seconded. All those in favor? Boylston?
Aye.
Southborough?
Aye.
Northborough, aye. Perfect. So we will get those on the website, and we can also send those in an email so you guys can post them if you do on your website.
Thanks, Michaela.
It was a fun exercise.
I'm sure.
Right. So our next meeting will be March 13th. I will follow up with more information. It might make sense to schedule one in February just with this FPHS, project ongoing, as well as the possible nursing software. So we'll see. We'll play it by ear and send out some options if we do that. But if not, March 13th is our next meeting at 1:30 via Zoom. Same thing. And if you ever have agenda items that you would like to discuss, just feel free to send them to Michaela and we can add that. We like to typically do it like a week in advance, but just send it our way and we can absolutely add it.
Great. Thank you.
Of course.
You want me to move to adjourn? Okay. I move we adjourn at 2:27.
Seconded. All those in favor, Boylston,
Aye.
Southborough,
Aye.
Northborough, aye. Well, it
Great.
was so nice seeing you all. I know it's a lot of information, but it's gonna be a great year. But feel free to reach out to Michaela, me, and then also please use Manise to help us out. This is why the state contracted with BMA.
Awesome. Thank
All
you.
right. See you
Have a good rest
later,
of the
guys.